Welcome to the Toastmasters Experience. My name is Evelyn. Get inspired by today's Toastmasters insights. Enjoy the show. And welcome to another episode of the Toastmasters Experience. I'm excited and delighted to have someone in my studio. Yay! I love it when I have people who are actually visiting me in the Blue Mountains. Welcome, Greg North. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to have you. I'm so grateful to have you here.
My pleasure.
Okay. Now, we're going to just start at the beginning. I always start with what motivated you to join Toastmasters, how long have you been a member, and what clubs are you currently in?
Well, it began back in the 1990s, a different millennium.
Okay.
I was inspired to do some more personal growth, and someone suggested Toastmasters, so I went along. I was living in Parramatta at the time, so I went to Parramatta Toastmasters and was very impressed, and I joined, I think, straight away, and I was there for about 5 years, I think. And then I had a bit of a break and I moved to the Blue Mountains, and I was driving coaches and didn't have much time at night. So when I stopped driving coaches, I decided I should join the local club. So I went to Springwood and met some wonderful people there and joined up there, and I've been a member there for 22 years or something like that.
Wow, 22 years. That's amazing. What has surprised you about Toastmasters?
The different people, I guess, the different things you hear. You'll hear stories at Toastmasters you'll never hear anywhere else. And that's what kept bringing me back, I think.
Yeah.
And keeps bringing me back.
Yeah. And it's interesting. Sometimes you'll reveal things at a Toastmasters meeting that you haven't even revealed to your partner.
Yeah, that's right.
or a family member.
Yeah, things come up in table topics and you reveal the things that you've never told anyone.
I know. It's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. So being a member for that long, you obviously like it.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you like most about being a member of Toastmasters?
Well, I think that hearing the different stories is great.
Yeah.
It's also good to be able to give back after being in the organisation for so long and to see people's growth. You really witness the great steps people take in their confidence in speaking in public and in leadership as well.
And you've actually gone a bit further with speaking because it's become your job.
Yeah, about the time I joined Springwood Toastmasters, I went to the local café poetry night, and I met some wonderful people there who were reciting Australian poetry. And I thought, why haven't I seen this before? This is fantastic. And it's a night that changed my life, because with their encouragement, I began to write poetry myself and recite it, and it's become a job.
Yeah, and how long have you been doing that?
20 years now.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Being a bush poet, that is what your title is, right? Bush poet. So what do you do as a bush poet?
Well, bush poetry is defined by the Australian Bush Poets Association as poetry with rhyme and rhythm about Australia, Australians, or the Australian way of life. So it's very broad. It can be about almost anything. It's not just about drovers and sheep and cows. Yeah. It can be about everyday things.
Well, and so do you go to conferences, or what is your professional development like? How does that work?
Well, it's mostly through competitions and festivals. Up until fairly recently, there were regular competitions and then there were state championships and national championships, and they were all around the countryside. It was a great way of seeing other parts of Australia as well, and I've travelled quite extensively going to poetry events.
Yeah, and so how many competitions have you won?
Oh, quite a few.
Okay.
Got to the point where people were saying, I'm not going in a competition if that bloody Greg North's in it.
Oh, okay.
Because of Toastmasters skills, maybe.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So these are absolutely original poetry. Is that correct? Or do you actually read anything from Banjo Patterson, or how does that work?
Yeah, there's a bit of a mixture. Usually in a competition, they have 4 categories. One is a traditional, like Banjo Patterson or Henry Lawson or the old things. Mm-hmm. And then there's a modern poem by another author, and then an original serious and an original humorous. And usually the best overall competitor becomes the champion. And I've been Australian champion 3 times.
Wow, I had no idea that I am sitting in the face of greatness. Wow, that's amazing. But I've always known that you were absolutely fantastic at, the bush poetry. What is your favorite competition then? There's obviously, I guess you just mentioned 4. So which one do you like the best? Do you like reciting another author or like doing your own material?
Yeah, I think doing my own original humorous is probably my favourite, yeah.
Okay.
I like to make people laugh.
And have you always been interested in poetry? I mean, was it something that you were interested in as a child?
Not really. I was introduced to it at primary school and it lay dormant for a long time. When I was driving coaches, I took a group to Parliament House and they had a great bookshop there. And one of the books was a collection of poetry. And I flicked through it and I found some of those old poems that I'd heard at primary school. I thought, that sounds good. So I bought the book and then I decided I should probably learn some of them. And then I went to the cafe poetry night and found that I wasn't the only one that learnt poetry.
Wow.
It was fantastic.
And have you published a few books then?
Yeah, I've got books and CDs and DVDs and things on Spotify and all that sort of stuff.
Now, I know that you are going to Queensland in a few months' time.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that is all about?
I go to Winton for 4 months of the year, and Winton is where Banjo Patterson wrote Waltzing Matilda.
Okay.
So there's quite a poetry and Australiana feel to it. I had some friends who were... Well, there's been a poet in the caravan park there for over 30 years performing for the travellers who come through. And I had some friends that were doing it and they decided they'd move on and they asked me if I wanted to slot into the spot. And I said, yes, please. And I've been going there, this will be my 10th year this year, going to Winton. So I perform at the caravan park each night and then each afternoon I go to the hotel. Now, my name's Gregory North. The hotel is called the North Gregory Hotel. So I think it was meant to be.
Oh my! So it was named the North Gregory before you even.
Yes, 130 odd years or something before I was born. It was the North Gregory Hotel, and I turned up in Winton. And I thought, well, look, I'm Gregory North. You've got the North Gregory Hotel. Maybe I should perform here.
Oh my goodness, that is such a interesting. Oh, I don't even know if it's a coincidence, but it's serendipity at its finest.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness,
yeah, fantastic.
Wow! So you're there for 4 months, and you just said you perform twice a day.
Twice a day, yeah, every day.
Every day for 4 months straight.
Yep.
Wow. And it's part of a poet festival then, or
no? It's just a residency that I have in Winton.
Well, and they obviously provide you accommodation and all that. Is that correct?
I have my own caravan in the caravan park.
Okay.
And
wow, and that's open. I guess that's open. I'm going to have to come visit you.
Absolutely, yeah. Everyone should come to Winton. It's the real outback.
Sorry, because as you know, I am American, even though I've lived here for 20 years. Where exactly is Winton?
Well, it's not close. If you know where Rockhampton is, north of Brisbane, well, it's about 800 kilometres directly west of Rockhampton.
Sorry, did you just say 800?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
So it's very close to the geographical centre of Queensland.
Okay. And what is the closest town? Is it Rockhampton?
Well, no. Winton's a town in its own right,
yeah.
But Longreach is close. It's only 185 k's away, just down the road. And Barcaldine, there's another centre that's fairly large, and then Rockhampton's the largest one around that general area.
Okay, and you said that is where Banjo Patterson wrote Waltzing Matilda.
Yeah.
Was he actually from Winton?
No, he was born in Orange and he lived in Yass as a child, or around Yass, and he went to Sydney and stayed with his grandmother there for schooling, and he became a solicitor and he got engaged to a girl from Victoria. I don't know how they met. And her brothers and father had interest in a property near Winton, so she went up there to visit her brothers, and she also had a friend from Melbourne who had her brothers running another property nearby in Winton. So Banjo went to visit his fiancée, and then they met up with her friend, Christina McPherson, and they all went to their property, which was called Dagworth. And while they were there, someone mentioned a swagman by the billabong. The overseer came in and said, I just saw a swagman waltzing his Matilda by the river. And someone in the party hadn't heard the expression before, and they asked what it meant, and they said, it's just a bushworker carrying his swag, his bedroll. Banjo was sort of taken by that expression and decided he'd write down a few lines about it, and it ended up as a song. And Christina McPherson was playing some music that she'd heard at the Warrnambool steeplechase races in Victoria the year before.
Oh, my God.
She had that in her head. And there was no piano. She was playing it on a type of zither, an auto harp, which is like a big board with lots of strings on it, and she was playing the tune on it, and the tune and the words went together, and that's how Waltzing Matilda was created.
That is such a great story.
It is, isn't
I didn't know of that story. There you go. And you're going to Winton. This is where it was. So there must be lots of inspiration there, or maybe lots of interesting terms that are used, wow.
And that's a story that I tell as one of my shows at the North Gregory Hotel, where it was said that Waltzing Matilda had its first public performance.
Oh my! So it had it for my God at the North Gregory Hotel.
Yeah.
And what is the history of the North Gregory Hotel?
I forget the year exactly, but it was the 1870s when it was first opened. It was the first hotel in Winton, and it burnt down 3 times, I think, in its history. And its final incarnation, or its latest one, it was burnt down and nobody wanted to rebuild it, so the council decided they would rebuild it because it was such an iconic place, and they built this wonderful brick building, and they had to get special permission from the Queensland government to be able to be a council and run a pub. So a special law was passed in Queensland Parliament to allow them to do that, and it's since back in private hands now.
Do you know why it was called the North Gregory Hotel?
The pastoral district was called Gregory. There was South Gregory and North Gregory, and that's how the hotel got its name.
Oh my gosh, that is so serendipitous.
It is.
That is just what a great story. I'm sure people, when they arrive to Winton and you're delivering this, they probably don't believe you.
They don't. No, it's only since I've been going to Winton, people are saying, "Is that your real name?"
Okay.
So, yes. And a few times I've had to pull out my license or my Medicare card and say, "Look, there really is my name."
What is that? I love that story. So it's every 4 months. So sorry, when do you start performing? From what day till when?
From Mother's Day to Father's Day, so May till September.
That's perfect, from Mother's Day to Father's Day. So anyone can go up to Winton on any day. They'll be able to see you performing at the North Gregory
Hotel,
Hotel.
And the Winton Roadhouse Cabins and Caravan Park.
There you go. There you go. I love it. I absolutely love it. So you're doing the bush poetry. Now, let's go back to Toastmasters. What sort of speeches do you like to deliver? Are they all around sort of your bush poetry, or what sort of topics do you like to talk about?
Sometimes I try out new things at Toastmasters. If I've got a poem that I've written and want to try out, I'll try it out at Toastmasters quite often. When we had the old manuals, when you had the competent communicator manual, I did a whole manual of poems.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't my first time doing this competent communicator, but I thought just for something different, I'll do those 10 speeches from the book in poems.
With poems, what do you like the most about writing a poem and delivering a poem?
It's connecting with the audience, really. Yeah, I like to make people laugh, as I mentioned, and it's great to see people's reactions. And it's always different. That's the amazing thing about performing every day in Winton. The audience is always different. Some nights a show will go fantastically well and you think, oh, this is fantastic, I'm on the top of the world, and you'll do it again a night or two later and it's just very lackluster. There's very little response from people. You think, what did I do? And I still don't know what it is, but it changes from day to day. The audiences are always different.
And how big is Winton, and how big are your audiences?
There's about 1,100 people live in Winton, and it's a very popular spot on the Grey Nomads Trail. And at the Caravan Park, anything from performed for 3 people. That was the worst night, I think. up to almost 100 we can fit in the shed.
Okay.
And the North Grade we can take up to about 100 people too.
Okay. And do you remember one of your worst performances and one of your best ones? Do you remember those?
I probably remember the worst ones more than I remember the good ones, unfortunately. It's a real roller coaster ride. As I mentioned, sometimes some nights you kill it and everyone's really laughing and happy and makes me feel really good. And then another night something will happen. Maybe it's a hot night and people are lethargic and they've had a long journey that day or something has gone wrong and they don't respond very well. Mm-hmm. And some people even walk out of the show and I think, oh, what have I done? Uh-huh. So, like I say, it's a roller coaster ride. Some nights I think, oh, that's fantastic. And other nights, oh, why do I do this,
Wow, it sounds like a comedy sort of performance as well. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's a bit like that, I think.
It is a bit like that, yeah. And so your Toastmasters experience, do you feel it has helped you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a great sounding board, way to try things out. And having the structure and also the evaluation too, that's really helpful because you don't really get that unless people walk out. You don't really get a lot of constructive criticism on your performances.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get that. And it's something I miss sometimes with Toastmasters. You get an evaluation and people will come up like some people who aren't the evaluator will say, oh, I liked your speech or I think you could have done this better.
Yeah.
But when you're doing a public performance, people vote with their feet and either they don't come back the next night or they walk out halfway through or they keep coming back. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. So that is a good thing about Toastmasters. You do get that evaluation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that feedback. So as far as Toastmasters goes, have you competed in any speech competitions or have you gone that path or have you done more of the leadership roles?
I've done a bit of both. Mm-hmm. I competed earlier in my Toastmasters career and really enjoyed it, and I think I got to division at least. I can't remember now. Anyway, but it was it's very exciting and it's a great way to hone your skills. And there's nothing better than a competition to put you on your toes and make you feel like you really need to do a good job. And usually, most people rise to the occasion and make a good job of it. Yeah.
And have you gotten your DTM?
Yes. Yeah, I'm Distinguished Toastmaster, so I've been an area director and ticked off all the things I needed to do to be a DTM. It was one of the things that I noticed at Parramatta Club. They had several DTMs and two especially, Gary Wilson and Elizabeth Wilson, very inspirational people, great speakers. And it was always a pleasure to be around them. And I thought, wow, I wonder one day if I could become a distinguished Toastmaster.
Right. And how long ago did you become a DTM?
Oh, I think it was 2009.
Okay.
Yeah. Frank Higgins was another DTM in Springwood Club, and Martin Faber was another DTM, and they were also great inspirations.
No, and also Michael Said as well. We both know Michael Said.
I was a DTM before he was.
Oh, were you? Oh, there you go. Okay. You beat him. That's good. We just have to rub that in a bit.
Sorry, Michael. I haven't done nearly the things Michael's done, though.
Yeah, no, he's really gone beyond and above. And he's amazing. He's a bit of a show-off.
He is, yeah. Say yes to everything. Who else would do that?
I know, no, he's great. He's great. We'll keep this in, actually.
We love you, Michael.
Yeah. Now, besides, let's just talk about any other resources or tools that have helped you improve your public speaking. Like, are there any books or podcasts that you can recommend, authors?
I really enjoyed when Darren LaCroix came to Australia, and I saw him at one of the Toastmasters conferences, and I bought some of his products, and they've been really useful. Yeah, he's very, very good, particularly with humour. Yeah, so I found him very useful. He
does so much as well. Like he's got Stage Chime University, and he's got a podcast as well. So yeah, he offers a lot of information to improve all of our public speaking.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about introducing having a poetry sort of thing for Toastmasters. I sort of love that idea. Not poetry slam. Actually, maybe can you explain to me what a poetry slam is?
Sure.
Yeah.
A poetry slam is usually competitors have 2, sometimes 3 minutes to deliver their own poem, one that they've written themselves, and the audience votes. They usually choose 5 judges at random from the audience. They usually throw something out into the audience, and whoever catches it becomes a judge.
Okay.
And they write a score out of 10 on a piece of paper and hold it up at the end, and they usually like to have decimal points so there's no ties, and they eliminate the highest score and the lowest score, and the 3 middle scores go towards the total. And then whoever has the highest total at the end is the winner.
Oh, wow. Wow. That would be interesting if we did that at Toastmasters.
It would, yeah.
Throwing a piece of paper out, whoever catches it. I love that idea, actually. But I think that'd be an interesting category. I mean, for Toastmasters doing, not a poetry slam, but, doing what you're doing, a poem or something, like 2 to 3 minutes or whatever.
I'm sure it fits somewhere in the Pathways program. I remember they used to have a storytelling part of the advanced manuals, and some of those were reading a story or a poem or or a drama or something like that. So I'm sure it would fit in Pathways somewhere.
It would fit in, but I'm just thinking like as a competition. How we have evaluation, table topics, humorous and international. That would be an interesting, I think, category. I don't know.
And I have performed poetry at a few district conferences.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, at the conferences, but just as a workshop speaker, I'm assuming.
Or as a sort of dinner speaker, I suppose, yeah.
Okay. And how long would a successful poem be, like when you're delivering it?
Usually in competitions there's a 8-minute limit, and most poems fit in there. There's a few traditional poems that are a bit longer, and some people are still writing poems, of course, and sometimes they go a little bit longer, but usually I think the best ones are around 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, and so how long are yours then, usually?
Well, I've got everything from 45 seconds up to about 8 minutes. Yeah. Or I'm known for doing The Man from Snowy River, Banjo Patterson's poem, with 14 or 15 different accents, and that usually goes for about 10 minutes.
Wow.
Because I change hats for each accent and that sort of thing.
Okay. So you literally change a hat. Is that what you do? Okay, on stage. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that. Because I would like you to recite a poem. So
Sure.
I don't know whichever poem you'd like to do, whatever you think is appropriate at this moment. But I just want to ask just a few last questions. One question is, what does communication mean to you?
Again, I think it's connecting with your audience. That's what it's all about, really. It's connection. If you see people that are asleep or not looking at you, or they're looking on their phones or something, you haven't connected. And that's what's important to me. And you don't get that if you read a speech or a poem. You're too busy trying to find out where you're up to, and you're not looking at the audience and you're not connecting with them. Whereas if you memorise a poem, you can always look at your audience, and if you memorise your speech, you can do the same as well.
Yeah.
And that really helps connect with your audience. You can still have notes and still connect with your audience, but it works best if you don't need notes.
That's true. That's very true. You mentioned that you received your DTM. What was the big project that you did to get the DTM?
Yeah, the big project was the 25th anniversary of the club, and it was a very exciting time, and I put together a team and we put on a really successful event, and it's something that I'm very proud of, and it went really well, and it's something that means a lot to me to be a DTM, partly because of that.
And was it for the Springwood Club then?
Yes.
And where was the event? Did you hold a big dinner? Or?
Yeah, we had a big dinner at the golf club in Springwood.
Okay.
And we had people who were some of the charter members there.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
it was
And
wonderful.
you had a bit of entertainment. Were you the entertainment?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Among others, we had speeches as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I love it. So if anybody wants to contact you, I'm sure that you open up your services as far as perform.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a poet for hire.
You're a poet for hire.
Yes.
How do people contact you?
My website's the best way, gregorynorth.com.au. I'm also on Facebook as Gregory North Poet.
Okay.
That's how people can contact me. And if I'm not in Winton, hopefully I can be at your event and provide some entertainment that's very Australiana.
Oh, fantastic. I
character.
love that. And you were saying that you dress up in different, you put on different hats. Is that correct?
Yeah, when I do my Banjo Patterson shows at the North Gregory Hotel, I dress up like Banjo Patterson looked with his fancy hat and the jacket, the three-piece suit and all that sort of thing. And when I do the Man from Snowy River, I have lots of different hats and things for different accents.
I love that. So I would like you to
I've
recite.
even been known to dress up in drag.
Really? Yeah. I love that. So whatever you would like to share with us now, and I think we'll maybe a bit of a longer poem, and then I'll ask you one last question, and then maybe a really short one to carry us out. How's that?
All right,
Okay,
fine.
so go ahead.
I notice you have very nice carpet here, and some people have great carpet and other people are a bit worried because it can be a very stressful experience to buy carpet. Maybe you've had to face it. I mean, first you have to decide if you want nylon or wool or composite. Then you have to decide if you want plain or flecked or graphic patterns. Then you have to decide if you want twist pile or plush pile or cut and loop pile. Then you have to decide about rugs and runners and underlay. And if that wasn't enough, there are so many different places to buy carpet. And one place that took my attention was a place called Carpet Court. And they inspired this poem that I call Court Thought. While driving through the city, I was taken by the thought, what kind of crimes and cases do they hear in Carpet Court? Are carpet layers prosecuted due to shoddy work? Do overcharging salesmen give a bribe and wear a smirk? Do carpet courts decide on stain resistance guarantees? Or work out who's responsible for plagues of mites and fleas? Perhaps I simply read it wrong, because that would surely thwart investigations as to what goes on in Carpet Court. You've been found guilty, since you've no contrition or regrets of owning cars and treating them as if they were your pets. As subject of the vehicle psychiatrist's report, you're guilty of a litany of crimes in Carpet Court. Perhaps there was a space I missed when making out the sign. It could have been the viewing angle or its bad design. But was the space located near the R or near the P? It could refer to courts that hear of eaten fish, you see. Could owners of a cat get sued for every plate and cup when neighbours boasting garden ponds have had their carp et up? Or maybe it's a family court with victims wall to wall, where custody of rugrats then becomes a judge's call. Adulterers are called onto the carpet where they sag and drag their feet, admonishing that warm, inviting shag. And one bloke can't abstain from his addiction when he insists on telling of his carpet burns from graphic, kinky twists. The carpet court may cause a rich embezzler's face to blush, explaining why his manor house interior's so plush. And when his magic carpet got pulled out and made him fall, is why his mate, the Persian, made a runner up the hall. Then later he might reappear, but in a different group, attempting unsuccessful suicidal cut and loop. That's hanging or cutting wrists. It's a more of a visual thing, isn't it? Are carpet baggers carpet bombed with rugs of deeper piles? Are toilets in the carpet court all lined with carpet tiles? Are courtrooms decked out differently depending on the case? And do red carpets get rolled out for dignitaries to grace? Are carpet beaters sentenced on account of what they dealt? Are marriages annulled if down below is underfelt? I have to find some answers. Something's missing, I've no doubt. It's probably been overlooked and sucked right up the spout. Or else it's been swept underneath the carpet. Yes, that's it. A nylon wool conspiracy that lawyers won't admit. All thoughts I brought have come to naught. I'm fraught, caught short, distraught. What kind of crimes and cases do they hear in Carpet Court?
Oh, I loved it. Oh my gosh. I wish people could see your facial expressions because it just adds to the whole delivery. Oh my gosh. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
So how do you memorize? That was quite a lengthy poem. How do you memorize that?
Well, unfortunately, there's no easy remedy. It's just practice over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I once went to a memory workshop and he did the introduction and he went round the class and he said, "Why are you here? What do you want to remember?" And I said, "Well, I'm a performance poet. I want to remember my poems." And he said, "Oh, I haven't got much for you."
Oh, God. Well, that's not good, is it?
No.
It's not. It kind of is like speeches in a way.
Yeah, there's certainly similarities.
Similarities, and maybe because it rhymes, it's easier to remember. Maybe that that is the yeah. Well, I just want to ask one last question. What advice would you give someone considering joining Toastmasters?
Do it.
Okay.
Join. It's been said before, I'm sure everyone should be in Toastmasters. Yeah, even if it's just to complete a project to be the best man at a wedding or give a eulogy or whatever it is. If you just got that one assignment that you want to do, then Toastmasters will help, but it will help in every part of your life and particularly in your professional career because you'll learn how to speak in front of people, and the more you do it, the easier it gets.
Well said. Well said. So just one last little poem.
All right. Well, this is where I often dress up in drag, and I dress up as an old woman.
Okay.
And I don't say, "Oh, I don't know where that Greg North fella's gone." It's one of the problems with our society today, isn't it? Unreliable people. And the other problem is young people. Young folk today, well, they just make me mad. Take a close look and you'll find they're all bad. They all look dreadful. Their clothing's a sight. Even the fat ones wear garments skin tight. No talk of love now, or even romance. Just about sex. And, well, what's in your pants? What's the world come to, an outdoor strip show? We had no sex back in my day, you know. Got no respect. It's just all about me. Just walk down the street, it's so easy to see. Young folk abusing and jostling the rest. You'll know they're bad by the way that they're dressed. Hear them as well, with their impudent quips. Our good King's English destroyed by their lips, mumbling their words like they've got severe colds. God, I hate 50 and 60-year-olds.
Oh, my God. Just love it, love it, love it. Oh, my God. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for your company. Please tune in next time to the Toastmasters Experience.